Okay, good morning everyone. I'd like to thank the organisers for asking me here. My presentation will be in English with a very strong Scottish accent, and I'm sorry I can't do a thing about it. I should also apologise in advance because I will speak fast. I always do, but I'll refer to my notes to try and keep me on track. But we have a lot to tell you in a very short time, and I've tried to bribe the timekeeper, but she's not having it. She's not having it. Okay. Oh. Just give you a little bit of background information on Scotland. I think this is the wrong presentation. It's the wrong presentation. It doesn't matter, it's okay. I can use it. No, I can use this one. It's okay. Okay. Scotland is a relatively small country. It has a population of just over 5 million, 1/5 of which are under 15 years old. We have 32 local government regions and 14 health boards, so therefore they are not coterminous. We have very, very beautiful areas, as you have here in Canada, such as the Highlands of Scotland, that you can see in the picture. But we've also got very disadvantaged inner city areas. And for example, Glasgow at one time had 40 of Europe's poorest postcodes within the one local authority area. We have life expectancies which ranges from 68 years to 78 in men and from 75 to 82 years in women. We've also been known to be the sick man of Europe. We have high levels of teenage pregnancy, high levels of binge drinking amongst young people, and high levels of suicide in young men. It's therefore highly surprising that health improvement has become a national priority. This is one of our inner city areas, and to relate to the earlier presentation, I am a football fanatic. I have a season ticket for Parkhead. I'm sorry, Ian Young, I had to get it in. And you can see in the background of this picture, this is Glasgow Celtic's football stadium, which is situated in the east end of Glasgow. But we have a number of schools. We have 378 secondary schools, just over 2,000 primary schools, and just under 200 special educational needs schools. In Scotland, we have a history of involvement with health promoting schools. I can take you back to the early 1980s when my colleague Ian Young worked in NHS Health Scotland, which was then called HEBS, and was the programme manager for education. In 1986, we ran one of the very first ever conferences on health promoting schools. We had 28 of the 32 members of the European community attended. We became a member of the European Network of Health Promoting Schools in 1993 and established very close links with Edinburgh University HSBC study, which was hugely influential in bringing research and the evidence base to shape the activities that then happened. We've done a lot of work which was very much project or initiative focused. Again, we worked with WHO and Edinburgh University on the development of Growing Through Adolescence. We worked with We worked with Elise Heithoff on the class moves. And we developed resources to support schools delivering health topics, and we provided the training. But what was very evident across Scotland was there's a huge amount of regional and local diversity. Some areas had very good working partnerships between health and education, and some areas had no working relationships at all. What it lacked was a strategic and a sustainable approach to taking health promoting schools forward. But the schools quite often felt overburdened with what was happening. There were a huge number of short-term initiatives and projects being taken into schools from health and beyond, quite often focusing on single topic subjects like sexual health, like alcohol and tobacco. From around 1998, we witnessed a significant shift in policy change, and one that went on to bring around unprecedented change in Scotland. We had two policies coming out of Scottish Government at virtually the same time. As you'll see from the slides, one came from the Education Department and one came from the Health Department. What they did do was they put the health promoting school very much at the centre of activity, and it gave government the impetus to say we actually need to talk to one another. The government's strategic commitment to change at that time is best summarised in this statement. What Scottish Government done was to bring together the three national organisations together to ensure a coherent and a collaboration in taking this work forward. It brought together Learning and Teaching Scotland, which is the National Education Institute, NHS Health Scotland, which is the National Public Health Institute, and COSLA, which is the overarching national bodies that represents local authorities and local government regions. So we had started to think about working together and developing a coherent and a consistent approach. And we had a lot to do. This is very quickly overtaken by the following statement. Peter Peacock, who, please note, was the Minister for Education, made the following statement that all schools would become health-promoting schools by 2007. For many of us, it was a very welcome and a very positive statement from the Minister, but it gave us a lot to do in a very short amount of time. We had a whole number of tasks to do. We had to establish a common understanding of what the health-promoting school was. Because while the health promoting school was very much driven by colleagues in health at both a national and a regional level, there needed to be an agreed understanding and a shared understanding with colleagues in education about what actually constituted a health promoting school. We had to create and strengthen partnerships and alliances. As I said, the partnership with education was variable across many of the regions and at a national level, but we had to secure that for the longer term. We had to consult and keep everyone informed and engaged. With the new policy, there came a need to keep people updated and engaged in the developments and allow people to have their say. This could not be a top-down development with so much work already underway on the ground. We had to develop a tool to self-evaluate. How do you know when you are a health-promoting school? Scotland's obsessed with self-evaluation. We self-evaluate on maths, on language, on science, and this just followed very much par for the course. We had to build on and recognise existing practice. As I say, it's important to take people with you. We have champions at all levels, and their voices and experiences are really important to where you go in the future. And we had to establish a standard fit across the whole of Scotland. How could you know from one end of Scotland to the other end that a health promoting school was truly a health promoting school? One of the first things we was to do was to establish a health promoting schools strategic partners group. This operates at a national level, and you can see the membership around there. It brought together Scottish Government's Health Department and Education Department, and within those departments, there's people who have a responsibility for alcohol, for tobacco, for food, for sport, for physical activity, for curriculum development. All of these people were key stakeholders in taking this work forward. Again, Learning and Teaching Scotland, NHS Health Scotland, COSLA, Sport Scotland, and importantly for the future developments with Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Education. We also established a national network for our health promoting schools. This was a means by which we would engage with people at local authority level. Each local authority and health board was asked to identify one key person to take this work forward. We have approximately 92 people who attend this network, and it meets 4 times a year. And it gives people an opportunity to feed into consultations and also to shape future developments. What were our outcomes? Am I going too fast, or are you still with me? Still with me? Yes, yes. Okay. I've told you about the national network, and I've mentioned the strategic partners group. One of the other... Is that in French? I can't read that. One of the other things we developed was Being Well. Now, Being Well, Doing Well sets our framework for a health promoting school, and it has 5 key characteristics. This was very, very welcome by education. The reason being is we built it into education principles and values. It does not come from a health perspective. It talks about leadership and management, it talks about curriculum and development, and it talks about ethos and climate. We developed with HMI, Her Majesty's Inspectorate, a self-evaluation framework. It's called How Good Is Our School, the Health Promoting School, and it builds firmly into and onto education developments. So it talks a language that education understand in a way that health are happy with. Each of the 32 local authorities had to provide a local health promoting schools framework. How would they assess health promoting schools? How would they know their schools were health promoting schools? And they had to submit this to a sort of panel or a team at Scottish Government. The panel and the team was called the National Endorsement Team, and as part of the team, we endorsed each of the local authorities' frameworks to nationally agreed criteria. By December 2007, we were feeling quite smug with ourselves, give ourselves a big pat on the back, because we could produce a statement to the Minister that said that all schools in Scotland were actively engaging in health promoting schools and that the target had been met. However, there are two key policies which have taken this one step further for us in Scotland. And this is the Schools Health Promotion and Nutrition Act 2007 and Curriculum for Excellence. The Schools Act has seen policy shift into legislation, and health promoting schools are now firmly embedded within education policy and practice. Health promoting schools must be embedded in school development planning, and this will be inspected upon by the Inspectorate on a regular basis. Curriculum for Excellence is the key policy within education. It sets out the framework that teachers will work to potentially for the next 20 years. I could talk to you about that for another 10, 15 minutes, but I've only got one. No, she's saying no. One, okay. Importantly, we have health and wellbeing as a key component in Curriculum for Excellence. And for the first time ever, we have literacy, numeracy, and health and wellbeing as a responsibility for all. Okay, some lessons, 30 seconds. Okay, establish common ground. Health and education aren't so unalike. We've got the child at the heart. I heard somebody yesterday in a seminar mention this. We need to agree a common language and mutual professional respect. We both need to have a huge amount to bring to this agenda. In order not to overburden those implementing the policies, use the mechanisms at heart and help people realise that policies do not need to stand alone. Where there's good practice, build on it. Research and evidence are out there. We've heard lots of it. We need to use that and build on it. Leadership at national level and all levels is important, brings a strong sense of direction and leadership, and it can also bring resources, and we're not necessarily talking about financial resources. Allow for flexibility. One model never fits all, and there's nowhere that's more evident than when we look at our 34 local authorities. Think broadly, look for common agenda. And very quickly, okay, here we go. Lastly, some key points that have been, I think, critical in Scotland has been the government agreement and support and their push to take this forward, notwithstanding the long work that had already underway. Strong cross-government collaboration. This is not just about health, this is not just about education. Transport, environment and justice all have a key role here. Strong partnership working, can't overstate it enough. Learning to work with complex systems and having a clear sense of direction, and never forgetting to celebrate your success. Thank you all very much for listening.